Hey everyone, how's it going? Welcome to the No DQ live recap of a Monday Night Raw for March 30th, 2020. This was the final Raw, the go-home Raw before WrestleMania weekend. WrestleMania, of course, too big for one night. It is two nights, Saturday and Sunday. Shout out to everybody in the chat room for watching. Let's go ahead and discuss tonight's Monday Night Raw. We kicked off the show with an Undertaker and AJ Styles storyline recap. And then we had an Undertaker promo from some dark room, which may have been a graveyard. Undertaker was dressed in biker attire, which got people wondering, is the American Badass back? Is Big Evil back? WWE's Twitter did use a line from Undertaker's 2002 song. Tim Heidenberg with a $5 super chat, first one of the evening. Thank you, Tim. He says, is Undertaker's new gimmick a fusion of the dead man and the biker? You could definitely see elements of both characters. That is true, Tim, and thank you again for the super chat. Undertaker did have the attire, and he was talking like 2002 Undertaker, although when the promo was over, his old music played. It could very well be a hybrid of both characters, a more realistic Undertaker because they're using the real names and AJ Styles is making the storyline personal. Psycho Jet Black with a $2 super chat. Thank you, Psycho. He says, EC3 is too small for WrestleMania 36, a 2-day pay-per-view. EC3 is a big dude. He's jacked up, but are you trying to say he's too small in another way? What's the deal, Psycho? What are you implying? Anyways, Undertaker's promo. He mentioned AJ Styles by AJ's real name, Alan Jones. You got to fight fire with fire. Taker said he's not sure if AJ has a big set or maybe AJ is just stupid. Yes, according to Undertaker, there were some truths to what AJ said. However, AJ got to the point where he was running his mouth, and Undertaker said AJ is writing checks that his ass can't cash. That sounds like an American Badass line. Undertaker said that the truth of the matter is that AJ was a big fish in a small pond, TNA Wrestling, and could not hang in the WWE when all the big stars were around. Undertaker mentioned Steve Austin, The Rock, Mick Foley. So I guess AJ came to WWE when all the big stars were gone and there were no big stars left in WWE. Interesting line there to kind of throw the more current guys under the bus. Like AJ just came into WWE when there was less competition. But I'll overlook it. I did think that this was a really strong promo from The Undertaker overall. He talked about how AJ had too much pride and ended up making a bad decision to bring Undertaker's wife into the mix. And then he took another shot at AJ saying that Michelle McCool, yeah, she did use the Styles Clash, but she got the move over. Ouch. And then Undertaker said that Styles is going to pay the price for disrespecting her. And he did mention another American Badass line saying he is going to make AJ famous at WrestleMania. And he even invited Anderson and Gallows. He said, bring the clowns. AJ is going to suffer. And then Undertaker used his classic Phenom line, rest in peace. And then as the camera panned away, we saw a tombstone revealed with AJ Styles, his birth date, and 2020 as his death date. I thought WWE did not want to use the word graveyard because of the coronavirus pandemic, yet they have no problem showing a tombstone in this day and age. Weird to me, but whatever. I did think the promo was really strong. So maybe Undertaker's best promo in the past 10 years. It's got to be up there as far as top Undertaker promos in recent memory. Definitely one of the better ones. We had Becky Lynch arrive in her semi-truck with her face and everything on it and her logo. She came out to the stage and she then decided to show us a WrestleMania match. Last year's WrestleMania main event, her challenging Charlotte Flair and Ronda Rousey triple threat match. Winner takes all the championships. We had the entire match replay. Apparently, Becky was watching the entire match, just standing there on the stage watching. When we came back to the Performance Center, she did her promo. She said that Shayna's right. Taking the title will destroy her. However, Shayna has some demons of her own because Shayna is trying to do what Ronda Rousey could not do, and that's beat Becky Lynch. And for once, Shayna would be able to step out of Ronda Rousey's spotlight and not the other way around. Shayna then jumped Becky Lynch from behind, put on the sleeper hold, and then took Becky and swung her into the announce desk. She picked up the championship, held it up, and that was our final build for the Raw Women's Championship match at WrestleMania. Decent segment here. It was fine. We had Alistair Black picking up a victory over Jason Cade, essentially a squash match. No Bobby Lashley on this show. To me, this is just a filler match for WrestleMania. I would have liked to have seen Bobby show up and try to do something to start a storyline with these guys, but nope. No Lashley. And to me, this is just time filler. Match thrown together because WrestleMania is too big for one night, so you gotta come up with some matches. You know, it would have been nice if we had Rusev versus Bobby Lashley in a final match for WrestleMania. You know, they spent so much time in that storyline. It would have been nice to have a payoff at WrestleMania. We actually had a match in the ring at the Performance Center, you know, because Vince apparently doesn't like empty arena matches, yet we're getting 2 nights of empty arena matches. We had Kevin Owens and the Street Profits against Seth Rollins, Angel Garza, and what was supposed to be Andrade. But Andrade suffered a rib injury on last week's Raw. Zelina Vega came out and announced that due to the injury, he's unable to compete medically. And she said she has access to the youngest talent in WWE. She brought out Austin Theory, who will be replacing Andrade at WrestleMania against the Street Profits. We had the 6-man match. Austin Theory started things out. Rollins was like, show me what you got, kid. And then Owens beat the crap out of Theory. But Theory did get some offense during the match. And there was a little bit of a scary moment during this match when Angel Ford went for the big dive over the top to the outside. And I'm not sure if Angel Garza was supposed to catch him or move or what, but he was nowhere near Ford, and Ford just smacked himself onto the steel ramp, and the sound of it, yeah, that was quite brutal. I would be surprised if Ford did not at least get banged up from that. We had the rest of the match, which ended when Kevin Owens hit the stunner, pinned Garza, but then he immediately got hit with the curb stomp, and we had Owens laid out in the ring. After the commercial break, we had Owens recover. He was still in the ring, and he cut this promo. He talked about how the PC was built despite Seth Rollins, because Rollins would show up and he would just rub people the wrong way, according to Owens. He had a bad attitude, and Owens referred to Rollins as an arrogant dipshit. No censor. We got another S-bomb on Monday Night Raw. Owens talked about how, he doesn't have a lot of WrestleMania moments. Seth Rollins does, but Owens does have a lot of accomplishments. Rollins had to get outside help for his accomplishments, which I don't quite remember that, but okay. I seem to remember Rollins was a babyface when he faced Triple H and when he slayed the Beast, and even when he won Money in the Bank, he did that on his own. He used the contract that he won, although I guess did he cheat for that? I'm trying to remember. I don't even recall. But regardless, I'll overlook it. Owens said that this Saturday night, I guess we know our first match that's going to be on Saturday, Owens versus Rollins. WWE still hasn't made it clear which matches are going to be on which night. This is the only indication of a match being on a particular night. He said this Saturday he'll show that Rollins is not a god when he defeats him. And Owens finished his promo by saying he will take his first WrestleMania moment from Rollins and he is going to burn it down. TJS with the $2 super chat says, why do 2 nights if there's no crowd? Very odd. Well, because doing one night, 7 or 8 hours with no crowd is worse. So I get it. If you're going to do 7 or 8 hours of action, best to split it into 2 nights, crowd or no crowd. I think WWE should do this regularly. And I feel like they kind of have to now. Like for next year's WrestleMania, how can you go back to just doing one night? Because this night was too big, right? WrestleMania has gotten so big. WWE acknowledged it. It's done. Are they just going to no-sell this year's WrestleMania next year? I think it's got to be 2 nights from this point forward. Mr. Dark Fantasy with a $2 super chat says, why didn't you go to WrestleMania 31 week events? I went to the Hall of Fame and I went to the Raw after WrestleMania. So I did do a couple things. I did not do NXT because circumstances did not allow for it to happen, but that would have been fun because that was, I believe, the first time they did a big NXT show in a somewhat sizable venue. And this was before they started doing the takeovers in the bigger arenas, but this was the start of moving in that direction. So I am sad I missed that San Jose NXT show, but I did catch some of the other events. We had a recap of Edge and Randy Orton, their storyline, and then we had Edge cut a promo in a room in this hallway, whatever. Edge talked about how Orton is probably right about him being a junkie. Adam Copeland being a junkie for Edge. Because Edge looks to the crowd for a connection. Kind of interesting talking about the crowd here when he's doing a match with no crowd. His whole point here is that the energy from the crowd is what motivated him to come back, and now he's wrestling with no crowd. But anyways, again, I'll overlook it. The delivery of these promos, they were really strong on this show. So even if there are some logic issues I have with the promos, the delivery, I thought, from everybody, was top notch. And that really carried it, the passion in the promos. Edge said that everyone in WWE is a junkie for the business. Otherwise, they would not be there. He talked about how Orton thinks he has grit because he's been coasting along, teaming up with Evolution, being handpicked for Evolution, and okay with being just okay. However, Edge did admit that Orton being okay is still better than most. Edge talked about what grit really is, as far as he's concerned. Grit is forging your own Hall of Fame career and not coasting along, and taking 9 years of time to figure out how to return to the ring. That's what grit is about, according to Edge. And then Edge said that Randy Orton is jealous of his passion. And the only time, according to Edge, that Orton had passion was when Edge was around. Edge said that that he brought out the best in Orton, and said that Edge is going to push Orton so far at WrestleMania that Orton, I should say, will not be able to get out of it. He's going to be pushed to the absolute limit, and there'll be no turning back for him. Again, really good promo here from Edge. That is one of the positives of this situation. There might not be a lot, but one positive, I think the promos have been better. I think the guys are really pouring their heart and soul out into these promos. And I mean, they do it anyways, but I think the crowd can sometimes be a distraction when it comes to cutting promos. And I think these guys are able to focus more, and maybe they're doing multiple takes, who knows? But the promos are coming off really well, and I think that they're able to focus more on what they're saying when they're not thinking about the crowd reactions. Just my take on it. Psycho Jet Black with a $2 super chat says, did you listen to the Jericho Brody Lee interview? I only heard a little bit of it, but from what I read, really interesting interview. Everything he said about Vince, and I know people will say, oh, here's another ex-WWE guy ripping into Vince, but to me, it's just a sign that these guys are not getting the creative freedom that could potentially take them to the next level. And you never know. People will say, oh, Brody Lee's not going to be a big star, and Jon Moxley's not going to be a big star, but people said that about Steve Austin, and he became the biggest star in wrestling because he got to do his own thing, and he didn't have a guy holding him back. He got to be the Steve Austin he wanted to be. And you never know until you try. Can Brody Lee be a big star? I mean, age might be working against him, but creatively, who knows what he's capable of, because we haven't seen him be able to go all out with his persona and do what he wants to do. Moxley's doing pretty darn well in AEW. He's the world champion, and he is putting out some of his best performances of his career. Next up, we had Asuka versus Kaden Carter. Basically a squash match. This was Kaden Carter's first Monday Night Raw appearance. So we had two NXT Raw debuts on this show. We had Austin Theory and Kaden Carter. Asuka cut a promo, well, not really a promo, but just trash talked before the match, basically asking Kaden, who are you? And then won pretty quickly with the Asuka lock. Had to, I guess, regain some momentum after losing to a DDT from Alexa Bliss last Friday on SmackDown. After the match, Asuka went to the commentary desk and got on the headset and said some stuff in Japanese. Cut a little promo on Alexa and Nikki Cross. By the way, that match is set for WrestleMania. Too big for one night. Asuka and Kairi Sane will defend their tag team titles. It's about time. against Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross. We had Charlotte attacking Rhea Ripley outside the building. Rhea Ripley was arriving to the Performance Center and Charlotte hit her with a big boot. That was bad of Charlotte because was Rhea Ripley's temperature even taken before she got into the building? Don't you get your temperature taken when you enter the building? So Rhea may have had a temperature and Charlotte was not practicing good social distancing, but whatever. Charlotte hit her with a big boot and then called her a rookie and said she would see her at WrestleMania. Really brief segment here, maybe 15, 20 seconds. But, Charlotte had her whole 45 minutes with the WrestleMania main event airtime on Raw, so she really did not need that much more. Speaking of replaying matches, we had a replay of Brock Lesnar versus Rey Mysterio from Survivor Series. And then to close out the show, we had a final promo from Paul Heyman with Brock Lesnar. Paul Heyman again brought up the line, WrestleMania too big for one night, and also the most unique event in WWE history. Interesting terminology there, I must say. Unique. This WrestleMania is going to be unique. Heyman said, this is becoming a pattern. Every time there's a go-home Raw for WrestleMania, Brock Lesnar's there because he's always the champion. He's always the beast to slay, the one to conquer. Heyman applauded Drew McIntyre for stepping up to the plate, and he admitted Drew McIntyre is something special. However, so were a lot of other guys. Randy Couture, Shane Carwin, Hulk Hogan, Undertaker, Cena. But once they got in the ring with Brock Lesnar, according to Heyman, they were not so goddamn special. This was bleeped out. Shit is okay. Goddamn is apparently not. And they were not so goddamn special, and they just ended up being Lesnar's bitch. Heyman put over the Claymore, said it's a great move. However, all the other moves, leg drop from Hogan, attitude adjustment from Cena, all those moves failed to get the job done when it truly mattered. And then Lesnar said, or I should say Paul Heyman said, that he absolutely guarantees that at next year's Go Home Raw, Brock Lesnar will once again be the man on the final Go Home segment for the Go Home edition of Raw before WrestleMania. And then once again said that Drew McIntyre is going to be Brock Lesnar's bitch at WrestleMania. I was a little surprised we did not see Drew McIntyre on this show. Has Drew McIntyre even appeared on one of the Empty Arena shows so far? That was a little strange to me, but good promo to set up WrestleMania. And Stephen Osborne from What's NXT sometimes appears on the No DQ review, says, with so many being pulled from WrestleMania, will Vince finally call up the Rad Russian Triceratops or Bad Irene from WTF? I am going to sound really uncool, but I have no idea what you're talking about. But thank you for the super chat, Stefan. I do appreciate it. As usual, I'm not going to do a letter grade for this show. I don't think I'm going to do a letter grade for WrestleMania. Maybe I will. I mean, this was a good Raw overall. Under the circumstances, I think this was among the better WWE Empty Arena shows. And Stefan said it's from South Park, so somehow I totally missed those references. Shame on me, I guess, because I have watched every South Park, but maybe it's just because I'm focused on the wrestling. If I don't want to have to immediately think of a reference. But anyways, the game is on 100 with a $2 super chat. Says, who in the No DQ galaxy is a fan of Cobra Kai? Cobra Kai, yeah, pretty good. And Curtis Butler says, stopped watching South Park years ago. South Park has been consistent. I mean, I like the Member Berries and I like Tegrity Farm, so I know some South Park. Anyways, we got 15 matches for WrestleMania. Oh, by the way, I totally misread that too. I thought that super chat said Dakota Kai. I have no idea what Cobra Kai is. I guess it's a show. So again, I'm focused on wrestling, guys. So if you start asking me about South Park and other TV shows, unless it's Better Call Saul or Breaking Bad, like my memory might be foggy without thinking. And if I start thinking about something other than wrestling, I get off course. So I apologize for that, guys. Mike B, House, Casey, and Sassy, they're doing good. Check out their videos, in this era of staying at home. If you guys are looking for something entertaining, go to my personal YouTube channel, youtube.com/AaronRift, to check it out. Ken Terminated by Google says, Cobra Kai is a sideshow based on the Karate Kid. This is going to sound awkward too, because you would think everybody's seen the movie. I did see Karate Kid, but I literally watched it like 2 years ago for the first time in my life, believe it or not. Psycho Jet Black with a $2 super chat. Now everybody's sending the random questions in. What is your favorite Beatles album? It's always been a toss-up for me. I used to like Revolver, but Rubber Soul has really been my go-to in recent years. It always goes back and forth between those two albums, but I feel like at the moment, Rubber Soul would be my top pick. I mean, they're all great, for the most part. Anyways, guys, quick plug for tomorrow night. We will be doing our live predictions for WrestleMania 36. One video for 2 shows, although I am planning to do 2 review videos, one Saturday night, one Sunday night. An event too big for one night, you got to do 2 reviews at least. So make sure you guys tune in tomorrow night for the predictions. We got 15 matches to discuss. Going to be a lot of discussion and going to be interesting because we're not sure what's happening with a couple of matches, in particular the Universal Championship match. Roman Reigns did officially confirm today that he is out of WrestleMania. You can check out what he said over on NoDQ.com. He's out. The rumor is Braun Strowman. We will talk about possibilities for that match. We will do a prediction based off of Strowman and then a prediction based off of somebody else. But we'll figure that out tomorrow night. No DQ Soldier, a.k.a. Gilberto, resident No DQ troll, with the $2 super chat says, Aaron, how long will WrestleMania 36 be? 1 hour? I wish, Gilberto. I wish it was 1 hour. But that's why we watch AEW Dark, because AEW Dark is only 1 hour. Darius Jefferson says Braun Strowman is horrible. Well, you got to go with somebody to face old Whisker Biscuit. We'll talk about that tomorrow night, 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific. Thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate the viewership. If you like this video, please subscribe if you haven't already. Tell a friend. Spread the word. Word of mouth goes a long way. Have them check out the channel. And I will see you guys next time.